wanted to send a quick video about fractions of a set, which is going to be on your child's homework tonight. We talked about this on Friday and we spent another day with it today, and your children feel more confident with it, but I wanted to explain it to you guys too. So when we say fractions of a set, we're talking about something like half of 10 or 1/4 of 16. So I wanted to show you the two ways we've solved it in class. So if we have 2/3 of 24, I love to think of this visually, and so I'm going to draw a model, and I know that I am trying to figure out a fraction of a whole number. So this might mean I have 24 students and I'm trying to figure out how many are in a fraction of that, in this case 2/3. So my total is 24, and then I'm going to look at my denominator, and that's going to tell me how many parts there are to this whole. So I'm looking at thirds. And if I look at that, I can see, okay, 24, and it's divided into 3 parts. So that means each part has a value of 8. So then I'm going to look at my numerator, and I need to figure out 2 of those 3 parts. And I can see 8 plus 8, that's 16. So 2/3 of 24 is equivalent to 16. So that again would be, if we have 24 students, 2/3 of that would be 16 students. Another way that we've solved it is by using multiplication, which is probably the way that you're familiar with and the way that I learned it too. 2/3 of 24, we can think of that "of" as a multiplication symbol. And we've talked about how when we're multiplying by a fraction and a whole number, we need to make 24 a fraction. And so we've talked about how 24 is the same, do this down here, as 24 over 1. And what that means is it takes just one piece to make a whole. So I have 24 wholes, and if we use what we know about changing an improper fraction to a mixed number, 24 divided by 1 is 24, so it's equivalent. So if I'm going to rewrite this, 2/3 times 24 over 1, can use multiplication and multiply across, would get 48/3. And then I can use division again to figure out what that is as a mixed number or a whole number. 48 divided by 3 is 16. Now, one thing that is kind of tricky with this is I really love using the model for finding fractions of a whole number because it's visual and just makes a lot of sense to me. And we found that you can use multiplication to get the same answer. But when we use multiplication, we're actually thinking of a slightly different type of problem. And what this would look like for 24 times 2/3 or 2/3 times 24 is really thinking of it like, instead of having 24 students and figuring out a fraction of it, we are looking at something like 24 bags of candy that each weigh 2/3 of a pound. Because we know that multiplication is the same as repeated addition. So if I have 24 bags and they each weigh 2/3 of a pound each, that would look like 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3, 24 times. Or I can use multiplication and do 2/3 times 24 over 1, get 48/3, which is equivalent to 16. So what that means is if I have 24 bags of candy, and I could draw that out, it would take forever. They each weigh 2/3 of a pound. If I added all that up, it would be equivalent to 16 whole pounds. So that's a little bit deeper than the conversation we're having in class, but just know that when we do multiplication, it's another way to get the same answer, but we're really using this strategy for the word problems that are something like I have a whole number and it weighs this much, or there's this much candy in there. So it's a slightly different problem, but we can use both strategies to get to the same answer. So I hope that this was helpful. It's probably way more information than you needed to know, but hopefully it helps.